Today you get to believe in yourself. Today you get to write a new story of who you are and where you're going. Today is the final day of Sagittarius. It's 29 degrees in Sagittarius, which is who you want to become. Today is the shift. Do you want to continue to tell your old story of who you were, what your traumas were, what pain you have in your body, why you're not getting to where you want to go, or do you want to change? Do you want to write a new story? Do you want to become that new story? Do you want to move into who you are supposed to be in this world? So that's what today is. If it's your birthday, put it in the comments. If you're feeling this energy, put it in the comments. The energy is intense. It always does feel intense on the last day of any sign. And the reason why is it's because from the first trip around the sun, 0 degrees in a sign, you're learning boundaries. You're getting started in that energy and you're starting to build up into that energy. In the first 10 days, you're really working on yourself. The next 10 days, you're working in your community and your day-to-day living, your habits, your routines. And then the last 10 days is when you go out into the world and you start to really get that energy tested. The way that I see it is we have energy that hits the earth, it hits everybody, and we all have a computer, emotions, past, history, ancestors, family, relationships, jobs, that are all building up a circumstance. And when that energy hits me, I react to it based on my circumstances. So the last 10 days of any sign, the last day of any sign is a test to how you feel about all of those things. So if you're feeling it, put it in the comments. Hi Liz, nice to see you. There might be like an anxious energy in the air or excitement or a lot of energy. People might react a little bit faster today than normal. That's because it's a Grandmaster step. You're being tested on everything you've been working on in the last 30 days. And then we're going to go into Capricorn. So why don't we do a little maneuver and breathing sequence just to calm down the body, bring everything down into the floor, into your feet. Ground before you start your day. The thing that I love about being able to take care of your body is that anywhere, at any time, you know how to help yourself. And that's really what my mission is to help give you the tools so that you can ground yourself, take care of yourself every single day, no matter where you are, by yourself. So let's do a quick little hand, brain, heart coherence, just kind of rebalance them. When we're feeling anxious, we're getting shaky in the body, then we get shaky in the mind. So if we calm down the body, then we calm down the mind. So let's do that. So take your right hand, place it on your heart. Take your left hand, place it on your head. And we're going to breathe together in deep breaths. So you're going to breathe in through the mouth and hold it. Pack the air into your hips. And let it out. Feel your feet. Breathe in through the mouth. Push the air into your feet. And out. Ooh, head rush. Breathe in. More. Push into your feet. Exhale. Even bigger head rush. Breathe in through the nose. More. And out. Breathe in. More, and out. Breathe in. More, and out. Shake off your hands. Shake your body a little bit. Okay, I want you to take your right hand, place it on your right hip, and then you're going to move it to your left hip. Move it up to your ribs, across and back down. So right hip, left hip, up, across, and down. Right hip, left hip. And just rub your belly. You can use both hands. This is going to charge up your fascia, charge up your body. We are actually made of electricity. And each cell has an electric potential. And we have 50 trillion cells. And so when you rub your feet on the ground, you generate electricity. And you can zap somebody. So when you're a little kid, you rub your feet on the carpet really quickly, boom, you can zap your friend. Also when you go barefoot on the ground also has a charge. And that charge grounds you. It pulls all the negative charge out of your body so that you feel more balanced. It's grounding. Okay, do you feel buzzy or tingling in your hands? You can rub them together. You ended up arguing. Yep, that can happen. If you respond to it, you can end up arguing, absolutely. That's okay. Felt exhausted yesterday. Yeah, I was at an airport office for 4 hours yesterday. It was awful. Okay, rub your knuckles together. So what we're doing is we're creating friction. And that friction rubs the layers of fascia against each other and it generates the electricity. It wakes up everything. Imagine you had your sticky layers of fascia and they're all sticky and nothing can get through. No water, no nutrients, no electricity. The signals are slow. What you're doing is you're rubbing those layers across each other like this. And it creates friction. And when friction is created, it starts to unlock and unstick everything. Your ears are popping. How? We're not even touching your ears. That's because we're connected. Okay, so let's do one. You're gonna take your right hand, place it on your chest on the left side. And I really want you to focus on feeling the sensations when you touch your body. And I want you to move and create friction. So you're not just sliding, you're actually creating friction, almost like you're pulling your skin in a direction. Okay? So with your right hand, you're going to slowly go down the inside of your left arm. Go down, go down, go down, all the way to the fingertips. And then you're going to come back up. Like you're pulling the fascia up, or the skin up. Okay? With as much friction as you can. Let's go down again, and then back up the outside. Down the inside, back up the outside. Okay, we're going to do that 3 times each way. Now you're going to go from the pinky finger down into the armpit ribs. Create friction. Other side. Feel the sensations. Down the inside, up the outside. Down the inside, up the outside. Down the pinky to the ribs. Down the pinky to the ribs. And relax. Okay. Whew. How does that feel? How does your belly feel? How do your arms feel? Do you feel calmer? Do you feel more energized? Do you feel buzzy? Okay, next, what we're going to do is the face. So grab the fascia or the skin with your fingers on your cheeks and you're going to pull it back to your ears. 3 times. Okay, now you're going to go jaw down to the chin. 3 times. Create friction. Now, forehead over the head. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now the neck. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Shoulders, brush them off. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now you're going to do behind the neck, over the head. Whew. Okay, now feel that. How does that feel? Calmer, looser, tingly? lower body version of that too. If you want to do the full one, you can go to our YouTube channel. Okay. Vision seems more clear. Yes. So your body has a direction. Now, this is how powerful this is. If you walk up to somebody and you swipe them like this and you walk away, what will happen? They'll start actually moving in that direction because all the fascia compresses, it tightens. So if you go, then all the fascia on this side is going to tighten up, which pulls me that way. Okay, so if I'm going to fall over now because I'm getting pulled that way, I need to drive tension. Oh, there's a thumbs up. The opposite direction. So I have to drive tension into the other side. And you're constantly doing that to rebalance. So if your body's falling over because your hips rotated too far to the left, then your upper body's going to rotate to the right and your head's going to rotate back. And the reason why is it's stacking. It's trying to find the midpoint between everything. And when you see older people or people with a lot of injuries, they actually clench their fingers on one side. So they might clench their thumb or their maybe 2 fingers or 3 fingers. But why are they doing that? Because if I have tension on this side and I'm getting pulled over, then I need to drive tension back some way, somehow. So either I create tension in the opposite shoulder. So if I'm driving this way, then this shoulder, I'm going to drive up. So I'm going to create tension there. Or I can use my fingers and I can pull my fingers tight. So I'm falling over, pull my fingers tight, and then I come back up. And you could try this if you lean one way. If you clench that side, you'll slowly start to stand back up. And you can use this as a tool when you move. If you're walking down a hill or up a hill or around a corner, you can actually play with your finger placement and clenching different pieces of your fingers. Now, you don't want to clench the whole hand because you're actually defeating the purpose. You want to clench the fingers like this. And the reason why is these are broken up into 3 zones. You've got zone 1, 2, and 3 on each finger. And you've got zone 1, 2, and 3 on each limb. So my hand, my forearm, and my upper arm. And as I clench different zones in my fingers and I clench my hand, that's going to change pressure in the other zones. Fascial coffee, yes. I love the fascial coffee. And the other thing you can do is just tap. Just tap on your body in different areas. Not too hard, but just kind of wake things up. So when we move through emotions. When we do things that challenge us, we move through emotions. But if we don't move through enough emotion consciously, then we will attract things to help us release our emotions. So for example, when we used to go down to the ocean every day in the middle of winter in Canada, and it was freezing, we would go in for like 35, 40 minutes. Imagine the emotions of getting in the water. And then it's like, if I jump in here, I'm going to freeze, and this is going to hurt. So just from leaving my house down to the water, the amount of energy that I released in emotions, like fear, was a lot. So by the time I got down to the water, I almost had none left. Then I jump in the water and we would swim around for like 45 minutes. Your body would be completely frozen. And then you come out, and by the time I get home, I feel no buildup of emotions. It's almost like you feel this little subconscious glass of water filling, and that glass of water is your emotions, and it's filling and filling and filling and filling and filling all the way up until the point where it pops. And that's when we have a breakdown, or we get into an argument or a fight or something big happens. So if my cup is getting filled throughout the day and I don't have an outlet, which might be meditation or breathing or fascia maneuvers or expressing my emotions or setting my boundaries or jumping in the cold water, then those emotions build. And those emotions sometimes don't come out right. They don't come out in a way, I don't act in my best self when I'm in those emotions. Okay, let's have some cacao. So if you're on the Sirius Joy platform or you have the pattern, let me know in the comments. Do you actually follow the astrology day to day? I like astrology because it's a weather report. And whether or not I believe in it, it's an intention being set every single day. So every day there's an intention going into your day. And you can either use it before or you can use it to validate. So today's energy from Sirius Joy's perspective. And what's interesting is you always see these quotes like millionaires don't use astrology, but billionaires do. Or Hippocrates said, if you don't use a doctor is not a doctor if they don't use astrology. They're a fool. But there's all these different kinds of astrology. And psychology, or even Carl Jung said there's 12 archetypes. So there's 12 different versions of people. And then you can go and do these like Myers-Briggs and all these personality tests and this and that, and they're all saying the same things. They're just saying it with a different language, and you get to choose which one resonates with you the most. They all work, and they can all give you a piece of information. Some dive deeper. Some are a little bit more woo-woo to people. Some are more clear. Hey, Dan from Insulted. So today is 29 degrees. I believe in my mastery. So today is the final day of, I believe, Sagittarius season. You may be tested on anything you have shifted in your belief structure over the last 30 days. So beliefs are funny because have you ever heard the example where there's an elephant and they tie a rope around the elephant's ankle when it's young, and as it gets older, it doesn't break past that string. And that's really, I'll actually show you another example of that, which I actually have a video of. But you've got a grown adult elephant that won't walk past this little rope, and that's because it believes that it can't. So yesterday was Gary's birthday. Today is Gary's astrology birthday. But I want to show you guys something called the Flea experiment, and this is a really funny one. Let me see if I can find it on YouTube here. Ah, found it. Okay. So watch this.
It requires a glass jar with a lid.
Okay. So they're going to put a bunch of fleas in a jar.
Training fleas requires a glass jar with a lid. The fleas are placed inside the jar and the lid is then sealed. They are left undisturbed for 3 days. Then, when the jar is opened, the fleas will not jump out. In fact, the fleas will never jump higher than the level set by the lid. Their behavior is now set for the rest of their lives. And when these fleas reproduce, their offspring will automatically follow their example.
Wow. Okay, so
Training flea.
you've got this jar, and you put fleas in there, and you put a lid on top. And for 3 days, the fleas are in that jar. You take the lid off, and they never try to leave. And the scary part is their offspring never try to leave. There's also that example with the monkeys, where they put a bunch of monkeys in a cage, 100 of them, and they put a banana at the top. And when a monkey goes to try and grab a banana, they spray it with water. And it gets scared and it like jumps down and stops trying. And it does it over and over and over again until it's so scared that it doesn't want to do it anymore. Now they take one monkey out and they put a new monkey in that doesn't know. And the monkey goes to grab the banana and all the other monkeys try to stop it. And that monkey's confused. It's like, why aren't you guys going after the banana? And it doesn't understand because it wasn't present when the water was being sprayed at them. Now they change another monkey, and that monkey tries to grab it. And now what you've got is social programming, because that banana's there, and they all want the banana, and only 98 of the monkeys know why they're not grabbing the banana, but the two new ones are trying to grab the banana and don't understand why. And when you switch them all out to the point where it gets to 100 new monkeys, none of them understand why they don't go for the banana, but they don't do it. It's the same example as this one, as the flea experiment. If you put fleas in a jar for 3 days, they can't leave. And they try not to leave afterwards. And this is what our beliefs are. Beliefs are very important. Beliefs are the placebo effect. Beliefs are the nocebo effect. My belief dictates my reality. It dictates the result that I'm going to get. What I look for is what I get. There's a lot of different ways to describe this. You've got the reticular activating system, which is in your brain, which tries to seek out what you think and believe internally true in your outside world. So there's all these different ways to program the body into believing something. And today is a Grandmaster Belief Day. Today is a day where you get to make a choice. You get to choose to believe differently. You get to choose to create a new story. That cap on that jar is your limitations. It's, I can't do this. I'm not good enough. I struggle with. This is challenging for me. This always happens to me. I'm a victim. I'm this. I'm that. I have this. I have that. Over and 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 over. And if you keep saying that, that is going to be your reality. You know how many people we talk to, and it's like, I'll literally tell them, you're just repeating over and over and over the same thing. And I've known you for 2 years, and you're repeating over and over and over the same thing. They can't hear it, and that's okay. But you get to make a choice. Do you want to change your reality? Do you want to change your belief systems? Do you want to take that cap off and start to try something new? And what you're going to get when you try and pierce that veil, when you try and move past that, you're going to get a situation where those around you don't understand. And those around you, like the monkeys, will try and pull you down and stop you from going for that banana. But you need to keep going. You need to keep trying, because they might not understand why you're going for that banana. They might not understand what you see, the direction that you're going. Whenever you make a change, the people around you will immediately resist that change. And that's a natural protective mechanism. Not everybody will do that, but a lot of people will. And the reason why is because if I have a relationship with you and you change, I no longer feel safe. Because does that change involve me? Does that change mean that we're going to be close to each other? Does that change mean you're going to go do something else? So I have to reassess my value, my worth. I have to reassess my connection and my relationship with you every time you change. And if it's a significant one, that puts me into a fear state where I don't know where we're going to be in a year from now. I don't understand why you're making these changes. My narrative might be, aren't things good enough the way they are? And you're saying, no, I want to change. I want to go after that banana. I want to do something that I've never done before. I want to do something that nobody in my family's ever done before. And you might not understand today, but watch me 4 years from now, and you'll see exactly what I've done. So you get to make that change. You get to go after that banana. And when people resist you, or if people resist you and they don't understand, that's okay. It's not your job to tell them to go after the banana. It's not your job to try and change them. It's not your job to be angry at them. Hold space. Be compassionate. Give them time. Be patient. While you make those changes, know that they will be there every step of the way if you give them the time, the space, and the compassion to allow you to change. When I was changing, if I was frustrated at somebody or I wanted them to change too, that created more issues. When I just sat back and I let them do their thing and I did my own thing, then eventually they came. And I've seen so many people do this. And now today I just do what's best for me. I do what's best for me. And we've been trained in society that being selfish is bad. Well, let's go to the extreme end of that for a second. If I'm not, if I'm completely unselfish and I do everything that I can to help others in spite of myself, eventually I will have to take care of myself. And that's a big one. So being selfish has different levels to it. Being selfish is important. Being selfish means I'm doing what's right for me in this moment. And if I do what's right for me in this moment, eventually I will be able to do what I can to help you, because I'll have energy. I'll be passionate. I'll be in alignment with me. If I have to wake up every day pretending to be someone that I'm not, or if I have to wake up every day doing things that I don't want to do, how am I supposed to continue to move forward? At some point, I'm going to crash. And when I crash, I'm no longer going to be there. It's the oxygen mask example. Exactly. Actually, there's a really good video about this. Let me see if I can find it right now. This one's actually a little bit emotional, but it's a helicopter example. And this happens when you're very empathic, or you love people around you, or you want to help the people around you. And you know, it's a good thing to want to help the people around you, but don't want to help them more than they want to help themselves. Because if you want to help them more than they want to help themselves, eventually your time is going to be unproductive. And eventually it's not going to work. So let me see if I can find this, because this was one of the best examples that I found to describe what I felt in this journey of transforming my life. So let me helicopter. Oh, here we go. So I titled this one, "You Can Only Help Those Who Are Moving Towards You." So imagine you're in a dark room. It's completely dark. And you are the light. You are a light bulb. And you want to attract others towards you because you, as a light bulb, are moving in a direction. Well, one way is to help people is to shine brighter and lighter, and then people from a distance that you can't even see will start to see that light and they'll move towards you. That's an inspiration. But if you dim yourself by not taking care of yourself, by not being who you truly are, and you start to dim that light, you start to push down your emotions, push down your intuition, shove everything down, your light gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. And then you try to tell people, hey, come over here, come hang out with me. I'm in the healthy, organic, no chemical meditation movement club. They're not even going to see you. You got to shine bright. And the only way to do that is to take care of yourself. So this is a really cool video that really opened up my eyes, because it describes something that I was seeing.
We can only save the people who swim toward us. Write that down. I can only help those that swim toward me. Do you know how to drive yourself nuts? Run into a burning building after somebody who's running into a burning building screaming, help me, help me. You'll go nuts if you try to help people that do not want your help, that claim that they do. The moment you try to help somebody and they push you back and push you back, you have to say, look, you know what? I love you. I'm going to be over there. Hopefully you'll swim toward me at some point. If you don't, this helicopter's leaving. Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. Was trying to help people that didn't want your help? Yeah, that's the quickest way for you to drown. And guess what happens? All those people that were flailing around the water, they're like, huh? Well, they're swimming toward, well, maybe I need to swim toward. And they'll start swimming toward you the moment they see that you're not going to chase after people that don't want help. The moment you show the human race that you are done helping victim behaviored individuals is the moment people come to you for support. I'm going to say something that's going to sound very negative. Hang in there with me. Some people in this lifetime are not going to get it. Some people are going to need to die to figure out what happened to their life. And I wish it didn't have to be that way. And I fought that truth. And I fought it. And I fought it. No, I can save everybody. I'm Sean Stevenson. And then finally I went, you know what? Some people just aren't going to get it in this lifetime. And then the people started showing up in droves. And I know more is coming. And I'm ready for them.
And they came back to say, you know, those 17 likes on your video, like those are the people that are swimming towards you. Like you have to understand that. So for me, it's like we talk about the money because it gets people inspired, but like when it all comes down to the real internal belief, like no one really cares about the money, right? They want the feeling of the connection and the help, and they want to change the world. They have their thing, and so it's like we talk about the money because it gets people excited, but I don't know anybody who that's the real reason why they're in business. Like they're in it because they want to help those people that are coming towards them, and so. You notice when you get deeper into the culture, right? It's not just money, 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 money. It's like, how do you serve? How do you impact? How do you change the world? How can you get your message clear? How can you do those things? When you shift from the money to that, then the money starts magically coming. And so for me, it's just like, how do we get people thinking that way more often? I don't know if that's the right answer, if that helps at all, but it is definitely something I feel a big obligation for. But I also feel like I'm super grateful.
So I've been in your world since about 2000.
Oh, that's funny. We missed part of the video. So I want to show another piece of this video, and this is a really powerful message. And so it's the people are asking for the video link. It's how to be successful, ... why most won't get it. And it's on YouTube. But there's an example in here. I don't know how the video skipped. That's really funny. Maybe we needed to hear that other message first. And let's give it a try. All right, let me see if I can find the spot.
What if we demo it like
So,
Effort to truly serve that client and really get them to the place that they're looking to go. And of course, they're persuaded into, which is normal.
There. It's a good question, and for me, it's I think it's a big reason why I do have a constant drive, because I do feel like a huge obligation to people who sign up for our stuff, right? And so it's like that's also what like creates. We had Sean Stevenson speak at the second Funnel Hacking Live. Was anyone there for that one? Cool, guys. And he gave us some instructions. You know, he's a 3-foot giant. He's a little dude in a wheelchair, one of the coolest humans on earth. And he told this story. It was funny because he talked about stories like, how many of you guys are upset because you got like 17 followers on Facebook and you got 13 likes on your YouTube video, and you're pissed because of all this stuff, right? And I think a lot of people are like, I'm trying this thing. I'm not a millionaire yet. I'm not making any money. Blah blah blah. And like they're upset about that, right? And what Sean said, he's like. Do you know how they choose who they're going to save when a helicopter's flying into an ocean and there's a boat that's wrecked, all these people? Guess how they choose who they're going to save?
They bring their helicopter and they hover over top of the boat, and they realize there's more people in the water than there's space in the helicopter. Who do they save? Who do you save? It's a messed up question, isn't it? It's a tough one. You know what their motto is? We can only save the people who swim toward us. Write that down. I can only help those that swim toward me. Do you know how to drive yourself nuts? Run into a burning building after somebody who's running into a burning building screaming, help me, help me.
So the key thing that he said there was you can only help people that are swimming towards you. And I actually don't know the name of that speaker. But it's a really powerful message, because when we were working with people earlier on with the fascial maneuvers, we would do sessions with people one-on-one, and man, it would drive me nuts. I really did not like working one-on-one with people at the time. And the reason why was because people would pay money, they come in, you get 1 hour with them, maybe 2, maybe 3 if you're lucky. And all of the responsibility of whether or not they feel good in their body is put on my shoulders. And what about every other hour of the week? What about every other hour of the year? It just doesn't make sense. All that responsibility is put on my shoulders as a practitioner to cure or take away the pain of somebody else. And when they didn't get the result that they wanted, they were angry. And I look at it and I'm like, okay, you've had this shoulder pain for 10 years. it was at a level 8 when you came in here. It's at a level 5 now, and you're still angry. And it was draining. It was exhausting. And it was an awful feeling. I did not like being in that position. I don't like fixing other people's pain. I just don't like doing it. That's my like, it's just not meant for me. Other people, they like doing it. But for me, when I looked at it, and we were working on people week over week just to get everything, get what we needed in order to survive. I mean, we didn't have jobs, we didn't have money. We were just trying to move this mission forward. We didn't even know what the mission was at the time. And I said to Gary, I was like, I can't work on people anymore. There's no way, because I just can't do it. Like, we would work on someone for 3 hours. I'd go downstairs and I'd crash. I'd be exhausted. I wouldn't have fun. It took all the fun out of working with the human body for me. And then I realized something. I said, maybe we can teach people in a different way. Maybe we can show people how to do this themselves. And I was so motivated to find a way to empower people to heal themselves so that I didn't have to be there. And if Gary's not there, or I'm not there, and we're not able to work on you, or we're tired that day, or we don't want to, then what happens? Do you just fall back into the pain cycle, try and find another practitioner? It just doesn't make sense. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to empower people to heal themselves. And the way to do that was to put some language around it. It was to create programs to teach people. That's what we did. We started off training coaches and practitioners, and at the time we had never really taught anybody, and we didn't really know where we were going with it. We also didn't know how powerful the maneuvers were. I mean, we knew because we could feel it, but this was only a couple months in. And so we started doing programs online and teaching people online. And again, nobody really thought you could do that. This was during the pandemic when everybody was online only. So we started doing training programs on Zoom, and over the last 4 years has really been a training process for me to learn how to teach this so people can actually help themselves. Now we have people reaching out to us from all over the world who can heal themselves, and they don't need us. And the fact that somebody can heal themselves while I'm asleep versus me having to be physically present and take 3 hours of energy to help them is a big shift. It means that my time has been amplified. It's exponentially grown, because what I can do now in 5 minutes is help 1,000 people versus working with one. And that was really the process. It was exactly what someone just said: give a man a fish or teach a man how to fish. That's what we're doing. We're teaching people how to fish. We're teaching people how to heal themselves. And what was really funny was we never really liked charging people for one-on-one time for helping them, because it was kind of a funny one. And if you look at the health and wellness world, I'm highly motivated for you to be sick so that you can come to me so that I can work on you and help you. But if I fix you, then you're no longer going to be there. So then what I need you. So there's this really weird dynamic. And there's a lot of really good people who go into health and wellness because they love the body, they love health, they want to help people. Very caring and compassionate people. But there's also the side of it where it's not like that, and it's very highly motivated for people to not be okay in their bodies, and very highly motivated to have you keep coming back. So it's this funny feeling, and we didn't want to be involved in that. We wanted to be involved in empowering people to heal themselves, and also to help people without anything being asked in return. Now, if somebody wanted to give something to us, a gift or a donation, that's fine. I mean, we're welcoming that. But at the time, we really wanted to step away from charging people for helping them. It was such a weird feeling. You're in pain. You're a couple of years away from not being here, but I'm going to charge you a lot of money in order to help you. And that just didn't feel good to us. So what we did is we built a platform to teach people how to do it themselves. Now, that wasn't easy. I remember the day we did it too. It's really funny. So in December 2 years ago, me and Gary were having this conversation on like December 21st. And we had the conversation of like, I mean, we were charging for our programs at the time so that we could continue to move forward. I mean, we still have to pay our bills, but we had this conversation and it was like, we have to make it all free. And we didn't know how to do that. We thought, okay, how is this going to work? How are we going to make it? And it wasn't easy. I mean, I worked my ass off. I mean, it looks like I worked my ass off to get here so that we could make everything free. Because if you are determined to do something, eventually you'll find a way to make it work. And what was funny was we made it all free, and we got to the point where we didn't even have food. My mom was bringing food over for us. My mom was bringing food over every Sunday. She would bring us stuff and like, just like, hey, like you guys, here, your shelves look a little empty. And, you know, that's kind of, I guess, the fun part of building something. And that was also the stubbornness of making this free. I mean, that wore on me. I almost gave up like 10, 15, 20, 30 times. Like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And that was just me working through me. And it had nothing to do with this. It had to do with me working through my emotions and my trauma and my behaviors and my patterns. And so it's a funny one, but we found a way to make it work. And what was interesting was we had no money at the time. And this company, or this guy that we knew, he was a scientist, and he would create a pharmaceutical grade medicinal supplement that came from natural medicine. So very different. If you take a completely pharmaceutical, it's completely structured from chemicals and it's man-made, which has a purpose. This is coming from the natural raw product. And he's a genius. He put together some really strong products. So anyways, we ended up reconnecting with him. They used to sell one of his products at the old Human Garage. And he said to us, I believe in what you guys are doing and I want to help. We couldn't afford to buy our first batch. Basically, whenever you sell a product in any market, you have to buy the product and then you sell it and then you get paid. So if you don't have any product and you don't have any money, how are you going? It just doesn't work. So sometimes what they do is they'll sell you a book and they'll sell it a year in advance. And then once they've gotten to a certain point of money raised, then they'll actually make the book. So a lot of the time you're buying something that doesn't even exist yet. And so, yes, it was Power Kirk. And so Franco, he said, you know what, I'll give you 1,500 bottles and you can pay me back after. And that was a gift. And what was interesting is the timing that it happened. So a year before that, I had about $50,000 left in my personal savings, which I just met Gary and Cynthia. Like, we hadn't even started this yet. I'm about to go into this like trip with these people that I just met and I just moved in with. And I don't really know much about them, but I really like them and they feel like family to me. And I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. But I have this backup plan right here. And, you know, so I had my savings, and that's how I was trained when I was younger, was to make sure that I took care of myself. And anyway, so a year before that, I had donated all of that money to this mission. I put it all in this to get this message out there. And a year later, Franco comes with Power Kirk and gives us 1,500 bottles so that we can start to actually generate a little bit of revenue to pay for the things that we need in order to continue moving this forward. And that got us to a point that really helped us grow. Now we had a way to help people for free like we wanted to, but then there's a product that helps us make that happen. So we switched and we went to selling that product. And because we wanted everything for free and we were only selling so much product, like I still was working like 17-hour days. I mean, we all were. And like, I mean, it's funny because we're over here and it's like I have a solution for you to live healthy. And I'm living as healthy as I possibly can. But I'm also working like 16 hours a day. And instead of recovering and getting healthier, I'm using my maneuvers in this practice to perform more so I can contribute more to this mission. So I spent more of my energy and more of my time and more of my focus into growing this and getting the message out there. And can you imagine 3 people who are working on a mission and in 1 month, 950,000 people follow them on TikTok? What do you do with that? So December hits and there's only 3 of us. Man, we went from 0 to 950,000 followers on TikTok. And who answers all those questions? We didn't even have a website. Who had to build the website? I had to figure out how to do all that. We didn't have the money to pay someone to make us a website. We didn't have the money to hire customer service staff. I mean, I was doing the social media. I took my phone and I'm doing Hey Gary because I thought that was a brilliant way to help people have their questions answered. There's only 3 of us. I'll grab the phone, I'll do it. And so I'm now building a website. Gary is doing, me and Gary and Cynthia are doing our best to answer all the questions. We're hopping on calls with people. We're just getting flooded. And yeah, I mean, it was very eye-opening. That was the moment that it switched for us. When we saw that many people were interested in what we were doing, that was a pivotal point of belief for me. Because I knew now that the world saw what we were doing. Anyway, so this is December of 2021. We went from 0 to 950,000 followers on TikTok. And some of that bled over into Instagram. We ended up going from like 10K on Instagram to 30K. And I woke up one day and it was like January 3rd. Every night I would go to bed and I would see we would have like 10 or 20 or 30,000 followers overnight on the platform. I woke up on January 3rd and I looked at the number and I looked away for a second. I looked back. I'm like, wait, what? It was like less than 300 followers. And immediately I'm like, that must be a mistake. And then I go to bed and the next day I wake up and we had less than 100 followers. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? It looks like they changed the algorithm. So we went from 0 to 953,000 followers on TikTok in 1 month. And then all of a sudden, 0 new followers. So they had changed their algorithm or they had blocked us. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But we had gotten to 950 and it just stopped. And then it's like, oh shit, because we want to get this message out there. We want to help people. We had 1 million people just see us, but now that momentum's dying. We just had our website starting to get built. We just launched our app. We're trying to get everything up as quickly as we could. There's only 3 of us. We're answering all these questions. We're getting overwhelmed. We're creating the content. I mean, we were doing a lot for 3 people. And then, I kind of panicked a little bit inside because I thought, what's going on here? Why is nobody seeing our stuff anymore? So anyways, a month passes and we're creating content. Nobody's really seeing it. And then we had Aquarius season. And there was the last week of Aquarius. I remember we gained 100,000 followers on TikTok in like a week. So something changed and we just went, and we blew up again. And I mean, at the time, what we were doing was I would get like a week of energy or time. And then I would do like a bunch of Hey Garys and then throw them up. And it would build momentum and I'd watch it. And then like 2 to 3 weeks of posting content and it would blow up. And then I'd get exhausted and I had no energy left, and we're in the first 10 degrees of a sign again, and I'm like, I want to be introverted, I don't want to do anything. So then I would like crash. And then, so there was like this ebb and flow. There's like a lot of content and we'd blow up, and then there was like nothing and we'd die. And then a lot of content, we'd blow up, and then there was nothing and we would die. And I just, the amount of energy to create that kind of content, and to maintain it, to answer all the questions, to do all the stuff that comes with it, it's a lot for 3 people to do. And we had ended up, now we're in the, where are we? We're in 2022. So we're in 2022 in the spring, and somebody else had donated $50,000 to us. And it was interesting to me that I had donated $50,000 in the spring, and someone else donates $50,000 in the spring. And then this year, someone donated $175,000 in the spring. So Groundhog Day, when I did something that was uncomfortable, but it was the right thing to do, a year later, and then a year later, we're getting the same action come back, or the same cycle come back. The energy is cycling back, but it's getting bigger. Because first it was mine, then it was someone else, then it was like 3 times the amount. So I'm curious to see what happens next year, because I finally feel like we're at a position where we can handle the volume. Like for the last 3 weeks, I've been building the back end systems so that we can answer all of the questions. If you saw how many questions we get every day, and if you knew that we actually answer all of your questions every day, you'd be blown away. We've now created like a database of questions that get asked frequently, like tinnitus, vertigo, autoimmune of all kinds, tachycardia, scoliosis, cysts, hernias. I mean, we have a list of 400 frequently asked questions, and we're building that out right now. But here's the funny thing, is we just built Gary's social media. So now everybody's messaging him in there. And we answer a lot of those questions, and it takes a lot of time because you got to read it. You got to process the emotions of whatever it is that some of the stuff we read is pretty intense. And then you answer it. And so we've got our Instagram, we've got our TikTok, we've got our Facebook, we've got our email. Now we have Gary's Instagram, and we have now our website. So there's a chat bot on all of them, or like a way to talk to us on all of them, but we still answer it. And we added one to our website because a lot of people don't have social media. But I've been, for the last 3 weeks, working on a way to bring all of them into one place. So we can actually see Gary's, mine if we at some point need to, Human Garage's account, we can bring the Fashion Maneuvers account, we can bring our website, our email, and everything into one inbox. And we're bringing in people who are in our programs that have done the coaching and the host programs to help us answer the questions, because I want to have a human-to-human interaction. I don't want to lose that. Not yet. I mean, at some point, it just might not be possible to answer everybody's, but we're at that point where we have a vehicle to hold all of the conversation, and we can talk to each other as a team to help people. So we could say, hey, do you know how to answer this or that? So that's what's happening on the back end. That's what we've been building. And with that is going to come a database of questions and answers. So any questions that you might have, if you have tinnitus, we'll have an answer there, like in an article or a help desk. You put it in, it'll post it up. You can read it and look through it. Now, if you have further questions, you can DM us. That will shift it a little bit, because we're empowering people a little bit more to find the answer for themselves by just putting it in a nice place. And then filter the ones that we can't answer in those questions, and to have personal interaction. So that's where we're going with things. That's what's happening right now. And the other thing that's happening is, I spent 4 years trying to find an app that allowed us to host programs at the same time that we built a community. And community is really important to us, because we are social creatures, or maybe not creatures. We're social beings, And you want to be around people that care, and you want to be around people that have your back. And when we're together, we're really strong. So community is a really important thing for us. A lot of healing happens in community. A lot of knowledge is transferred in community, and that's being lost today in society. So I looked at a lot of training programs that other people are doing, and they all had something in common. They all had a portal where you do your learning, and then they have a community on like Facebook, somewhere separate. And they all had that in common, and they all lacked community. None of them, I don't know many communities out there that actually are strong. So I'm not going to follow the model that everybody else is doing. So I'm looking for a place where we could host classes, where we could host our programs, and where we could build community. And that's what I've been looking for the last 4 years. And that's not so easy. So we were on Mighty Networks before. It's one platform, and it allowed us to do that better than most. And we have people in our programs now who fly across the country to see each other, and they go out together and they hang out and they work together and they help each other. And that, I think, is a really big sign of community. I mean, even our Vancouver event, people are flying across Canada for the event. Yes, they're coming for the event, but they're hanging out with our community that they've built relationships with over the last year. Imagine hanging out with people on Zoom for 2 years, and then you finally see them in person, and you hang out with them every week, and you're sharing very personal stuff. I mean, that's something that I don't think has ever been done before, because we didn't live in a world where that was actually something that's possible. So community is really important. We're now switching to a different platform, and I know the consequences of switching to a new platform. It's painful for everybody because we all signed in, we all have progress, we've all gotten to a certain point, and it's like, what about all my messages, or what about the courses I've done? What about this and that? You know, I get it. I understand. It's also painful to transfer it all over, but what we're doing is we're making it better. This is the groundwork that we need in order to grow, in order for us to really help 1 billion people. We want to get this in multiple languages. We want to get the 28-day life reset in multiple languages. We want to translate the fashion maneuver guide, the cleaning your environment guide, in multiple languages. We want to host a space where you can communicate with others from around the world. So this is what we're doing and what we're working on in the back end. And if you want, like, people who are starting their programs right now, the 1, the 3, and the 7-day, they get access to it because I didn't want to make them switch like halfway through. I wanted them to start right away in the new one, and I was able to transfer over that data and also improve the programs. So we have new content in our 1, 3, and 7-day. They're not the same. It's different than it was before, because when we did it before, it was a placeholder because we wanted to just get people going. Now we're actually starting to make them better. And we have a plan. So on January 1st, our intention is for everybody to start the 1 day together. On January 15th, we would be doing a worldwide 28-day life reset. So the 28-day life reset around the world, everybody comes together and they do it at the same time. Now this is different because when we did the 28-day life reset before, everybody did it on their own. But that's not community. Community is when we do things together. It's when I go through an experience at the same time as you and we reflect on it. We help each other. Maybe on day 6, I don't want to continue because I'm tired, and you give me that motivation to keep going. Or maybe on day 20, I have a question and somebody in the community has the answer. So in order to build community is to create the space, the framework for people to meet together and to go through things together. And that's what this is. So on January 15th, we're going to be doing a worldwide 28-day life reset. Now you can sign up for the 1 day on January 1st and start going through it with everybody. That's what I want to do. Some of you might do it earlier. That's okay. But I want to do it with everybody. And I want to do it together because I know what happens when people do things together. There are studies of people who meditate together. And when you meditate together with 1,000 people from around the world or 1 million people from around the world at the same time, that you can literally bend reality, and that has been shown scientifically. So what happens if 10,000 people did the 28-day life reset together? What would happen? I think that that's the perfect way to start off the year. I think that that's the perfect way to prepare for what's coming. And to do it together, I mean, I'm excited because we've never done it. We've never done it together. I mean, talk about Groundhog Day. This year in January, at the same time, we actually did a 28-day life reset with our team, but it was in person, and it was only our core team. This is now Groundhog Day. We're just doing it at a bigger version. We're going to do it with the world. We're going to do it together. So that's the plan. That's what's happening. And I know if you heal yourself, like someone just said, you'll heal the world. And you can only change yourself. You can only help yourself. And by shining brighter, people will follow. People will come, and people will start to take care of themselves. So continue to, if you're already in the programs right now, somebody just asked, should I stop the original 28-day? No, continue. Finish what you're doing. Don't stop. Finish what you're doing. The new 28-day is something different. It's for us to do together. It's different. So don't stop halfway through. I want you to continue going, but if you want to do this one, you can, and you can do it after January 15th. That's just when it's starting. What we're going to do now is every 2 weeks, people are going to start together. And I don't know how that's going to work logistically, but we're figuring it out. So the first group's going to start on January 15th. Then anybody who's late will start on February 1st. And then everybody who's late to that will start on February 15th. And it's just going to go every 2 weeks. Groups of people are going to start together, and they can build relationships with each other. So you can do both. And I highly encourage it. The new 28-day, what we're changing, or at least what I found, when I built the 28-day life reset previously, it was a collection of podcasts and classes that we had at the time. That's all we had. So it was just like, let's get this up. We know that the world needs this now. Let's just get it up. So we got it up. Now I'm looking at it saying, okay, why don't we get people to move for 15 to 20 minutes a day? Why don't we get people to learn for 5 or 10 minutes a day and then reflect on that? Instead of an hour, 2 hour, 3 hour podcast, let's do it in 5 or 10 minutes. But how do we do that? We need to be very clear with our message. We need to have content that revolves around that message. A lot of the classes or a lot of the days were the same. So you're doing the same 15-minute stress reset every single day. And that is fun and all, but I think what's more fun is if you have a different instructor with slightly different breathing or slightly different narrative each day. And that's what we're doing right now is every day for the new 28-day is going to be a new class. And it's going to be a class with a different instructor. So it'll be Gary one day, it'll be Cynthia another day, it'll be me one day, it'll be Aisha another day. And it's going to be short and sweet. It's going to be like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 to 2 times a day. The 2 is for the people who are hardcore and want to do the bonus. And that is how we're setting it up so that you get a big pack or like a big punch for a little bit of time, and you'll have the same result at the end of it. So continue doing what you're doing if you need to, but we will be doing this new reset. It's going to be 50 minutes movement a day, 5 to 10 minutes of education a day, and a self-reflection exercise. And every week there will be coaches and hosts who've done our programs who are going to be holding space for conversations and discussions and answering questions. And people are going to be going through together. So it's a lot of changes in a short period of time. And I'm super excited about it because this is really the time for it. This next year, people are going to go through it. It's already happening right now. And I want to be that light. I want to show people that it doesn't have to be so challenging. I mean, even this process for me, okay, it is a little challenging. It's not, the growth is not linear. You can't just go from here to here. It's, oh, I feel really good today. Okay, now I feel like shit. Oh, I feel really good today. Now I'm detoxing. Oh, I feel really good today. Oh, that old pain came back up. Or I really like what I'm doing. Now I don't like what I'm doing. Now I really like what I'm doing. Now I don't like what I'm doing. And it's this constant back and forth until you get closer and closer to the truth and alignment of who you are and where you're meant to be. So that's pretty much what's happening at Human Garage over the next year. Where what I want to do is now that these programs and our our answers and questions on the back end are being set up, we're actually going to be able to go on tour, and we can go to different cities, and we can go and see you. So we want to go to Greece. We want to go to Italy. We want to go to Spain. We want to go to Philippines. We want to go to Indonesia. We want to go to India. We want to go to Australia. We want to go all over the States. We want to go to South America. I mean, we want to go everywhere. We want to meet you people in person. We want to connect with people in person. We want to help people in person because it's needed now more than ever. We're going to be going on a tour. Now that we have everything set up, we've been building the foundation, the groundwork. Now we're going to start moving. And I'm super excited to meet all of you and connect in person. The events that we've done in person have been amazing, and I'm looking forward to it. So please go sign up on our website in the courses section for the 1, the 3, the 7, and the new 28-day. We're going to start it all together on January 1st and get everything ready. So I will see you there. Yes, I'm from South Africa. We're coming there. Don't worry. Montreal, yes, we will be there. I don't know when, but we're gonna go to as many places that we possibly can. Portugal is definitely on the list. I love Portugal. Okay, thank you everybody. Appreciate your time today, and have some fun with it. Write your new story, connect with yourself, take care of yourself, be that light, and I'll see you next week.